What's up, everyone? Today I'm super excited to talk about the AP300 Pro from Grayton. Grayton sent me this to test out, and I really like this thing. I think in terms of budget electronic wind instruments, it's probably the best bang for your buck. I would compare it to something like the Iwi Solo, which is about $200 more than this one, which is currently retails for $349. In that it does have a built-in speaker, built-in sounds. You can play it by itself, but also hook it up to your computer via USB and control any software synths or external hardware synths that are hooked up. I think that this thing has very good playability, good customization with LCD screen, pretty decent built-in sounds. There's about 100, and I would probably use 5 to 10 of them actually in a performance or on a recording, with just a little bit of, reverb and stuff added in post. So a lot of them are kind of like imitations of real instruments, which I'm not crazy about, but it does have some decent synthesizer sounds, which I was very happy with. And I found myself just kind of practicing tunes while I watch movies. The speaker is just loud enough for practicing at home alone. You would need to hook this up to an amp to play with a band or something like that. And then the USB connection also does a really great job if you want to control software synths and get, a more diverse palette of sounds. Good connectivity with an 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch, USB-C out, as well as Bluetooth in, so you can have a metronome or a backing track or something you're transcribing coming in through the headphones that are plugged into this unit while you play it. It comes with a very decent case with good padding and room for some accessories. It comes with this exact neck strap, which I have actually used on my saxophone as well. It's well built. It's got the usual bite sensor, the saxophone key kind of layout with multiple fingering options in the software. And yeah, overall, I've had a blast using this thing. I play it late at night when my neighbors wouldn't want to necessarily hear a saxophone coming through the wall. I use it when I'm traveling. I use it to learn tunes. Obviously, when you play this, you're not using a saxophone embouchure. So it doesn't replace practicing the saxophone. It doesn't replace having a saxophone to practice on and a place to practice. But let's say you got your 30 minutes of long tones, overtones in done for the day, and now it's a little too late to play out loud in your apartment or something like that. Go ahead and learn tunes on this. It's all going to transfer over because the fingerings are that similar. And I found that after a few weeks of just adjusting to exactly where the keys are, that muscle memory really does transfer between the saxophone and the Iwi pretty well. In terms of playability, I've had no issues with lag. I find the mouthpiece, the breath sensor, the articulation is very responsive. I'm able to pick this up and play bebop tunes that I know on saxophone without a big adjustment period. The keys respond well, they're in the right place, and you can adjust the location of the pinky keys. They have screws to tighten these, but I've just kind of left them a little bit loose. And I've had, no problems, playing quick stuff. So as you can hear, that's just the built-in speaker. I'll do a sample later with the audio coming out of the actual audio port on the instrument so you can hear how it sounds really, but this is just what it sounds like with the built-in speaker. Even then, the bass response is pretty decent if you're just practicing. There's a pitch bend by the thumb here that can go up or down. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this review, hit that like button and subscribe for more reviews, music lessons, interviews. I do all kinds of stuff on this channel. It helps the channel grow, and it makes it much easier for me to get my hands on cool products like this to test for you. There's a number of fingering options available. The LCD screen and menu is great, very easy to work with. So if we just go to fingering. We've got sax, flute, oboe, trumpet 1, trumpet 2, deet G, huluk G, ST finger. I don't know what all of those are. Some of those are from Chinese instruments that I have no idea how to play. So the sax fingering is what I typically use, but the standard fingering was designed for iwi. It's similar to the one on the Akai iwi. And what that does is it lets the pinky keys go up a half step and whole step if you combine them. Half step, whole step, which gives you some more flexibility with how to finger certain difficult passages, and same for going down a half step, down a whole step, and down a half step. So you can actually go down like a minor third if you press both of these together. So the iwi fingering, if you're purely an iwi player, is a really good option to try and learn. I typically use this as a saxophone kind of practice tool, so I leave the fingering on sax. The layout of the keys feels pretty much exactly the same as my iwi USB, which is the same price. I would say this is most easy to compare to something like the Akai iwi Solo, which is $549 at time of recording, a similar array of built-in sounds and a speaker, so it's probably the most fair comparison. In terms of built-in sounds, again, it's very easy to change sounds. You just hit sound here, and then we've got all these different options. There are, let's see, in total 108, with the last one being a drum kit. Which I have had some fun with, playing with a looper pedal, laying down like a simple drum groove, and then a bass line, and then, soloing over that. So if that's something you're interested in doing, it has a wide array of drum sounds with each octave being a different kit. Here are some of my favorite sounds that I could actually see myself using on a recording or to play live through an amp. I will say that, like many electronic wind instruments, including the Akai ones, a lot of the built-in sounds are not something I could see myself necessarily actually using, because they just sound kind of like corny digital recreations of real instruments. Like here's Clarinet 2. It's fine for, like I said, practicing late at night or just learning music, but I wouldn't use most of the built-in sounds in performance. But there's enough that I would use if I didn't have my laptop or something and I want to just hook up to an amp and jam with some people. There's some nice synth sounds in there. In terms of connectivity, the AP300 Pro has a USB-C out port. So as long as you have a long enough USB-C cable, you can connect this to your laptop and control software synths or any kind of hardware synthesizers that are connected to your laptop. And that works great. I've had no issues with that. Another nice feature is that this will actually function like an audio interface. So if you plug this into your phone or your laptop, it will recognize it as an audio device, which means on your phone, you can record a video of yourself playing this with the built-in sounds, and it'll record directly over USB the audio. So no MIDI software required, and that works great for just making little videos of yourself playing this instrument. There's actually built-in reverb as well, which is nice because it makes them sound a little better. It's also got a 1/4-inch port on the bottom. This hole is actually just for moisture because when you play in here, condensation builds up and it'll just drip out there. That's not an output. This is the 1/4-inch output, and then there is a headphone output here. So if you're practicing, you can plug in headphones so that you don't bother anybody around you. You can even play completely silently that way. And what's nice about the headphones is you can connect your phone over Bluetooth to this, and this will be like a speaker or work as a Bluetooth speaker or headphone adapter. So you can have some music you're learning, something you're transcribing, a metronome, backing tracks like iReal Pro running through the headphone port with the sounds of the instrument you're playing on here. So I like to put on iReal Pro tracks, something I'm currently working on a transcription. I can just play that in here and no one has to hear anything that I'm doing. It doesn't bother my neighbors, and that's really nice to have that option if you live in an apartment building, for example. You can just have everything coming through here with not having to wear like 2 different sets of headphones or whatever. In terms of the build quality, this does feel a little bit lighter and I would say a little more fragile than the EWI USB, which I've also had for many years. There's a lot of plastic. I believe the sides of this are aluminum. The keys are metal, of course. The back has metal. This is the octave rollers, which is just like on the Akai. And this is like a glide strip. So if your finger is touching this out farther away part, the notes will glide. Like a portamento, which I don't think you can adjust, but it seems to be a good speed. And let's go through the rest of the settings. You can see the screen is nice. There's a lot of information on the screen. It also tells you what key you're in. So if you want to transpose, you can move it up to an octave away, and then it loops around. So if you want it in the key of B flat, you can go up by 10 half steps or down by 2. That's usually where I keep it. For FX, we have reverb and chorus, which they sound pretty decent, honestly. Volume is just the volume for the output on the speakers and on the 1/4 inch and headphones. They're all the same setting. Fingering options, like we talked about before. We've got all of these. I typically keep it on sax or on standard fingering, which is like the EWI fingering where the pinky keys behave a little differently. For settings, we have key delay. I have found that 3 is nice. This just changes how long it'll wait between fingering. So if you're getting a lot of glitches where you're hearing the wrong octave or something in between notes, which is a big thing to work on EWI, you can raise the delay a little bit. Tuning, so if you're playing with a pianist that is sharp or flat, if someone's piano is out of tune, you can adjust to them. The semitone key, that is this key above on the right hand, goes up a half step no matter what you're playing, and that can be disabled. Breath, sensitivity, then we have the bite. So with the bite options, vibrato type, amplitude, sensitivity, and the vibrato CC. So if you want this to output on a different MIDI CC, you can do that. The vibrato type lets you have semi-auto, where when you bite down on this sensor at all, it'll start to do vibrato at a fixed rate. Full auto, which always has vibrato at a fixed rate, and then vibrato, where each bite on this bite sensor gives it 1 vibration in pitch. Then you can adjust the MIDI output and disable or enable the thumb pitch bend up and down. Adjust is just an automatic breath pressure adjustment, like a calibration feature, and then reset, which resets all the functions to normal. The skill set, if this is on, then again, this extra key here above the F key will make like a growl sound or a tremolo sound on some of the stringed instruments. So it's kind of fun to play with. I haven't really found a use for it in my own music, but it's kind of a cool feature. We also have all of these bank buttons, which just recalls a setting, including the sound and the transposition. So if you want to have like play one instrument in concert pitch and then have another one be like adjusted for tenor saxophone pitch, it lets you do that. You can save those within the setting. There's 2 more over here that are very quick to access. So if you're using a looper pedal and laying down a drum line and then a bass line, it's kind of nice to have these buttons that you can very quickly switch between without having to even look at the instrument. And we have a nice sturdy neck strap holder. The thumb hook, I've had no problems. The instrument's very light and I play it without a neck strap all the time. That's just balancing in my hand. And then this is the thumb pitch bend up and down. Yeah, so that's it for the Grey 10 AP300 Pro. Overall, I've had a great time with this instrument, and I think that at $349. It is a really good value as a practice tool, potentially even for performing, specifically if you're using it with a good software synthesizer on a laptop or something like that. But even some of the built-in sounds, if you just want to roll up to a jam session and play an EWI, it would be good for that. I'm probably going to make some performance videos playing some tunes on this thing because I've had a good time with it. Let me know in the comments if you want to see any more EWI related content or what saxophone related or EWI related gear you'd like to see a review of, and I'll see what I can get my hands on. If you're enjoying this review, hit that like button and subscribe for more reviews, music lessons, interviews. I do all kinds of stuff on this channel. It helps the channel grow and it makes it much easier for me to get my hands on cool products like this to test for you. What do we have in the way of a meow in here? Kittens.